Okay, we're live. Wonderful. Welcome everyone to a new episode of the Women's Empowerment Series. I have with me an incredible and a beautiful guest, Heather Egginton from UK. I am so happy and honored that we finally made it to be able to actually do this episode together. So the Women Empowerment Series is a platform where we have female leaders from around the world who are making a difference and who, through their work, they're really impacting their community, people around them, and impacting people from all around the world. So welcome, Heather.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. May I say, I appreciate you so much. I've seen you have these conversations on a regular basis and to show up regularly.
Yeah, consistency.
It's quite big stuff, isn't it?
It is. But you know what? Because I love meeting incredible women like you. And each time it's just fascinating. And I just love your accent. So it's going to be fun conversation. Yeah. So where are you? Are you based in London or where are you connecting from?
Right. So I'm based in the Midlands, and that's literally in the middle of the UK. Like if you're looking at the map, okay. In a place called, or an area called Shropshire, which is very country-esque.
Yeah. That's nice. So it's green.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, I love that. Horses.
Sheep, horses, cows, you name it.
Wow. I like that. Oh, we have our friends from Facebook. Hello. We have people connecting. Let us know where you're connecting from. We want to greet you. And let's talk about love today. This is what's our theme. Our theme is love. You are a love life coach. And I think it's incredible that you have that as a title, because it's just on its own. It's like, wow, it's intriguing. And we want to hear more of it. So what brought you, Heather, to become a leader in the coaching business and also a wild mentor?
Hey to everyone who's watching. It's lovely to see other people joining in. I call it a love first coach.
A love first, okay.
Yeah, no, and the reason I kind of made that distinction is because a lot of things I created before I was around 40, I didn't really love. Like I kind of did it for everyone else, and I wasn't really kind of that aware of who I was being in those moments when I started, I suppose, performing for others, I was really successful. I mean, I worked in quite a male-dominated environment. I was closing £1 million deals with the likes of IBM and Vodafone and whatnot, and earning lots of money, driving a Porsche. I had all of
nice.
That. There was lots of.
And were you living where you live today? Were you always there?
Near to, near to. And it actually, it's while I was doing that, I had a side hustle as well. So I do property and development.
Okay.
So I've renovated, I think it's 8 houses now, and I've built one from scratch as well. So
amazing.
I was doing it in the background, and it was an accidental kind of bought my first house at 21 and then just kept buying them and renting them, So I was kind of doing that in the background. And then I was just presented with an opportunity to kind of coach my boss into an exit plan, really. And I'd already had some support at 35. Okay. And they asked me, what is it you want, Heather? I mean, who gets asked that question? Tell me, when was the last time you sat with someone and they actually genuinely wanted to know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know. I really don't know. I just know that I'm not happy and I feel really lonely. And although I've got all of these things, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel in love with my life.
Really?
Not at all. No.
Wow. And you were successful. You were like a businesswoman, structure and, closing deals. Wow. The
Yeah, I was up
dream,
at 6,
right?
back
That's a
home at
dream.
night. You'd
That's
like
a
to
dream.
think. You'd
Yeah.
like to think, right?
Yeah.
That was like, on the outside, everything about me said success, amazing, she's really happy. On the inside, I was dying.
Wow.
I was
But
dying.
did you feel that all the way, or when you reach certain level of wealth and of achievements in your business as a real
Oh,
estate or as a deal closer?
so what do you mean? Did I always, even while I was doing other things,
Yeah.
did I feel?
Yeah. Did you feel?
Yes, and it was because what I'd done is I'd really, really worked hard to control my emotions, my
Right. Yeah.
feelings, like all
Mm.
the things that
Like you shut
feel
them down. You don't hear them.
totally,
Yeah.
yes, like all the things that are uncontrollable, right, unpredictable. Like I was like, no, I'm not going to feel that today, and it was just like a box, a box, a box. Let's just put all this here. And like fall in love, like hold on, the last time I fell in love, my fiance cheated on me. Why would I even want to do that again? Like, you know.
Wow. Yeah. So you were looking
So,
for passion and spark and, like emotional, feeling alive emotionally. Yeah.
that's the word, I think.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yeah. I wanted to feel
Mm.
alive again. I'd lost sight of who I was, what really mattered to me as well. Like I didn't see my family, and even if I did, I was on my phone, on
Yeah.
emails, supporting
Mm.
clients. And that was like really a good chunk of my life. I started
Mm.
work when I was 14, and
Wow. Wow.
hallelujah, I
Yes.
kind of, when they asked me what I wanted, I was like, do you know what? I'm going to retire at 40 from having to work. That's what I want.
Well, if you started that early, yeah, that seems a lot of
Exactly.
years. Yeah.
So many.
This is incredible. Yeah. And so, what was that day where you decided this is it? That's enough. Like, because obviously you had to listen to yourself. Because before, it's not that you were not there. You had that drive and looking for emotional spark. But what is it that made you listen to it?
I think there was two key elements to this.
Okay.
One was like my boss at the time, who had worked tirelessly for 10 years, had threw me under a bus, literally.
Mm.
Um, and so I lost all my trust and my faith in this person, right? So there was like, hold on a minute, you've worked all these years, like giving it your all for this person, like, and actually they've just thrown you under a bus. Like, why would they do that? So there was one wake up, and then the other one was further on from that, when I actually thought, well, when I retire, what is it that I'd like to spend my time doing? And because I'd had the support from a coach and mentor throughout my 5 years career, in the end,
Okay.
before I left, I
Okay.
was like, why don't I just do that? Because like that's amazing, like being
Yeah.
able to help people like create the kind of life that they want, and really go for their dreams, rather
And
than
be
save.
empowered to actually go for their dream because you needed to be empowered.
Yeah, so the support, oh my gosh, there's no way that I would be where I am today at this. I mean, I'm 46 now, so it's been 7 years, because I actually left a year earlier.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, those two catalysts, like really deciding what I wanted to spend my time doing after. I already had plans for this property to be built, so I'm like, why not spend my time, like I'll just have a year off,
Hmm.
like kind
And
of
then
do
just,
that
yeah.
and see where things go.
Mm.
And as we say, you've got to move so that other people feel moved. I made the leap. It was actually, I don't know who here would resonate with this. It was actually when my boss said, if you think you can go off and train to be a business and life coach, and then 6 months later leave and set up your own business, I think you'll be surprised. And I'm like,
Yeah, right. Because he doesn't want you to go. Of course, he's going to tell you that. Hey, that's very typical. It's like,
yeah.
okay, don't go looking for encouragement from the one you've been working, helping him build his dream, right? Never.
And don't
Yes.
tell me I can't do something either, because like before, that was a fire that I was fueled by a lot.
Here we go.
I can see someone's fire on the.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, it was just literally, he just
And then you
literally
told
put a
him,
match under
watch
me,
me. It's
Yeah,
like, watch me now.
it
I
was.
love that. And that's probably a huge fuel because that's going to make you create something even bigger.
And it did, because I didn't really, I thought I'll build this house, have a year off. And within 2 months of me on garden leave, my old client rang me and like, I know what you're trying to do. I want you to come and work for us, you know, as a contractor. And I was like, doing what? And they were like, oh, we want you to do org design and development. I was like, what's that? You know, of course, yes. I'd love to do that a few days a week in London, you know. And so I ended up like for a week before just learning about org design and development, and then turned up as an expert, and then just kept getting referred to different companies and departments.
Wow.
So
But
you
this is
just got to
incredible.
move.
But
Yeah.
Heather, I mean, what you just describing, isn't that the dream and the easy magic money that we all want as a business owner or businesswoman or an entrepreneur? It's like when just things shows up at your door and you're like, yeah, sure, I'll sign it.
Yes, and I am a
Mhm.
true believer. Hey, Bonnie, lovely to meet you. I
Mhm.
am a true believer in magic money can be created when we are pure and clear about exactly what it is that we do want or don't want to do.
Yes.
And I was really clear, like, I do not want to go back to working the way I was before. And actually, you know, and it says on my LinkedIn profile, it's taken me 6 years to really like get clear about no, this is definitely for me and this is definitely not for me, blah
Wow.
blah. You know, you kind of, it's almost what I call an undoing of success.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So like a pulling back of doing all the time to create. And
Yes.
now it's like, no, I create, rather than it be I have to do something in order
Yeah,
to.
you create just by being, not
Yeah,
by doing. And
exactly.
I think that's the big paradigm shift that we are seeing more of. And we speak for more of it. And you are a voice for it, not just a voice, you are actually a real representation of it. Because just by knowing, and this is who you want to be, you know, you have people calling for contract. That's
Yeah, I'm
incredible.
getting emotional because it's true,
It
right?
is. I mean, but I
Thank
mean,
you for
it's
noticing as well, like, you know, to see how we've kind of connected and you've seen
yes.
that, you know, it's testament to this work, like to
It
be able
is.
to be in support of and representing of what it is that really life is all about, which is love first.
It is. It's caring and connecting through love. And that's incredible. And I see how it is very emotional because when we are in a very executive like and you know man dominated fields, there is no space for us or for anyone to be emotional, to even recognize your emotion. You're like, shh, shh, no time.
Yeah.
Shh. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when actually my boss had thrown me under a bus, and I remember in an open plan office, in a glass office,
Yeah.
just literally, I burst out crying. Like that, I
Oh.
just never do that at work, you know, it
No,
was
because
not
we
a
can't
done
do
thing.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no, that's not right.
No.
And he was, and I remember him saying, and I'm not, and it's not just him as a person, it has happened in different areas of my life.
Mm.
Don't cry in here, everyone can see you. You
Really? He
know,
said
and now I literally cry all the time,
that? Oh,
like
yeah.
a joy, a beauty, like a bird singing at me in the tree, like it's just.
Oh, you let your emotions be. I love that. And makes us feel so alive. And I think this is how we started the conversation is that, you know, our drive is to feel alive. And feeling alive is to be emotional, connect emotionally with things, be present and let your emotions be, which we don't do when we are running after things. We really don't.
No, and I think, you know, my biggest message a lot of the time is like, I just want everyone to feel better,
Yeah.
you know, in every sense of that, feel better, you know,
Mhm.
have the ability to feel things through rather than think things through, which is
Yeah.
what I found has made a huge difference for me, because it's, you know, I would punish my feelings, and then of course my thoughts were like completely skewed, you know, they were toxic, they were
Mm.
scarcity, they were lacking, they were, you know, they were very sabotaging.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, all about the energetics, right? Emotional intelligence and energetics. I had zero emotional intelligence, and unless I've been on holiday for a week and then
Mhm.
I'd come back, and all of a sudden things would look a lot clearer.
Yeah. Yes, yes. But that's it's almost like we when we are completely driven and overtaken by the executive world and the business world and transactions and building and creating and doing, there is no space. We don't leave the space for that.
No,
I
no,
mean, if yeah.
well, I've been, I've noticed as well recently, I'm still writing about this, very relevant to the topic.
Uh-huh.
It's, it's almost, we have to have skin in the game for us to be present.
Yeah.
It feels like that sometimes, and actually, like in yoga, for example, I'm not very good at sitting on the mat and being really present with that practice.
Okay.
Right. However, put me in a hot pod yoga room, because I did hot yoga for a month in Thailand, and I'm really fully present with that because there's skin in the game. Like, the only way to get through it is breathe.
Oh, that's right. So you're more in a survival mode. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, got to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I've noticed that recently, I think the more invested we are in creating the kind of life that we really desire and want to feel into, I think it makes walking that path a lot easier than maybe before that, in a way that we've built the success. And maybe even to bring in more of a masculine energy, that's how my life was before. If I was going to do it in two halves, it would be, I was a woman in a man, I was a woman in a woman's body, but acting and looking and dressing. Even I didn't wear makeup until I was 35.
Okay. So you were like, you want to blend in so that you feel you belong to that word. Yeah.
Totally.
Oh,
And
wow.
then the second half is like, oh, okay, femininity isn't like a weak thing. It's actually
No,
beautiful. Yeah,
it is beautiful. And that's what you bring in more of now in your work.
definitely.
I wonder if we knew more of that emotional intelligence and feminine energy, and we brought that into the executive arena. When that we like any person can go super high with that,
Mm.
because that's the real thing. It's like you don't need to be so far away for you to be and become that, and be connected emotionally. How about if we put them together? We can create the incredible.
Yeah, and there is a balance, actually, as we both know from our mentor that we've met through, finding that balance between, okay, I've got this and I know where I'm going, and I'm okay. Like, I'm always going to be okay, because that's, to me, that's the feminine message that I didn't receive throughout
Yeah.
the 35 years, right? That I
Yes.
was always going to be okay, and that there was nothing wrong with me, and that I didn't need to try and be something that I wasn't.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
feel like if we get the balance between those two, especially in a male dominated environment, I feel like that really cuts through any needing to fit in or belong. In fact, it's funny, I did a live last night, my first live solo live for quite a while,
Uh-huh.
and I was talking about, what is it that people around you make an effort? Why do
Yeah.
people make an effort around you,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And and it's the belief, like, because I was talking about bridging the gap between self-doubt and self-led,
Right.
and I feel like this is entwined with that conversation about
It
bringing
is.
more femininity in the
Yes.
executive world,
Mhm.
right? And that's the gap, is the belief that we are already incredible as we
Yeah,
are.
it is.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
I,
there's nothing altering, adding on, and that's, I guess, well, that's what I guide people through, bringing them home to their natural, beautiful, divine self. Like,
themselves. Yeah. Yeah. And it's true because we if we were to believe more in our capacity of being appreciated and belonging to wherever we are just for being who we are, then we will put so much less pressure on us. Ah,
and they'd get the best out of us as well,
of
though, wouldn't
course.
they?
Oh,
You know,
yes. In everything, in terms of success, in terms of wealth, in terms of leadership, in terms of everything. Absolutely. But we do not. Is it because because of the stereotype, how we've grown, we grow up in a very masculine paradigm, when it's really just, work hard. uh, if you're a woman, you need to work double the other one, the man and others. I mean, this is what we heard, and so we took it for real, and that's what women did. But today, things are changing, and your voice plus my voice plus all the other women's voice, for plus many many women, this is how we can change it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's the invitation, isn't it? Whoever's watching, if you feel like this would make a difference, this conversation, to someone you love,
Yes.
then share it with them. Gift this conversation to someone you love.
Mm.
Oh, thanks, Mohammed.
Mm. Yeah.
Because we can't do it alone. Like, we really need to be collectively on board with shifting this paradigm that you can only be successful if you're a man, or you have no feminine traits,
Exactly.
no connection to your emotions, no connection to love in any way. Like, that paradigm is, we need the support to shift that. Right.
It's true. We really do. We absolutely do, and we need many voices to say that, and we need many women. And we see this a lot happening now. A lot of awareness, women reaching positions and feeling stuck. That means something. What was missing is just you being you. You don't need to go and get another degree. You don't need to go and get another certificate. You don't need to go and change. It's just like, come back to who you are. And this is what we want to for women to understand, that they are just perfect the way they are, and you just need to reconnect with that. I love that message, Heather, and I think you are embodying it so beautifully. I want to talk now about wild mentor. Why did you use the word wild? How is that
Let me
connected to the first love? Because that's two different things, right? Oh, okay.
well, let me cap what you're talking about as well, because what I want to say is, it's, we need the message to be shared through the masculine and male kind of energy as well, right? Because
Yes.
unfortunately, if we're in an environment where we're mirroring a male's kind of behavior, then how would they learn any different, right? How would they learn, like, empathy skills, or to tap into their intuition, if we're showing up like they are? We need, like, more of the mirroring, to be like, oh, no, I'm fully owning my femininity here, and actually they would learn more from that, so I just wanted to cap that. And you're asking about
The wild mentor now. I want to go into the bigger part. So you are doing both. So why did you call it wild? What's the wild about?
well, it's the old version of wild. It's not wild as in like
Okay.
wild. It's
Uh-huh.
more wild in terms of our innate
Okay.
brilliance.
Okay.
So every time, let's say, for example, I'll sit with a mentorship client, and they will really would like me to tell them what to do,
Mm.
then all it is an invitation for them to reconnect to that wild part of them, that fire that
Yeah.
knows
The raw
already.
part of them.
Yeah,
Ah.
like, there's this inner knowing already, and it's about reconnecting to that really strong sense of, oh, I already know, I'm just wanting to check whether or not. And it's just like, no, you don't need to check.
Mm.
The wildness in even like how life is. I call life my playground, right?
Yeah.
So I say to people, give yourself permission to play with, like, if something's not working or is working, like, why is it work? Give yourself permission to play with that, and just know innately that whatever happens, like, you're always going to be okay.
Yes.
You always, and you're always going to have your own back. You're always going to be able to evolve. You're always going to be able to move, like, shift, all of those things. And so, to me, what it means to me from a wild mentorship perspective, the most wild thing about it is, I don't tell you anything. Like,
Okay.
I'm not here to tell you who you are, how to live your life, and how to go about it, the whys, the whats, the whatevers. I'm here
Mhm.
to mirror back to you and ask you,
Who you are. I love
who
that.
are
You're
you to
here
do
to
this?
ignite the the
Yes,
the person, the light inside the person.
that's it. The
Yeah,
fire, the yeah, all
yeah.
of that. So that's why.
Incredible. And that's good because, everyone has a guiding mechanism inside. And if we only would listen to it, we can go so far away. But we often don't because we either are worried, overwhelmed, we don't trust our guiding system. Mm.
Yeah, and it speaks to the whole wealth of you, the company. My whole philosophy is you love first, and then freedom and trust.
Okay.
It kind of naturally comes from that place.
So you love first, is it loving yourself first or loving others or both?
All of that,
Okay.
all of that. If you love everything you already have,
Yeah.
then that will just become greater. Like you will
Mhm.
have more of that. Other
Absolutely.
the opposite way around is, well, if I do more of this, I'll have more of this. And it's no, no, no. If you love what you already have, then you will have more of that. And it's
Yes.
just getting really clear about what actually is it that I love here.
Yes. Yes. Very nice. And then so after love, you go to trust, you said? Yeah.
Yeah. So it tends to what I've there was actually a poem that one of my colleagues wrote for me that's really encapsulates it. I thought I had to do something out there for me to be something here,
Wow.
right? And,
Yes.
and the underpinning quote that goes with that is money goes where the heart overflows.
I love that one. And it is so true. Money
Yeah,
goes where the love, where the
where the
heart overflow.
yeah. So the
Wow.
more we have the ability to love, be grateful for, and appreciate everything we already have, that's the depth and the expansion place.
Yes, it is. That's, yeah.
Before, I used to think it's the other way around.
You used to think, how did you used to think?
Well, I used to think that if I have loads of money, then I'll be able to trust more, and then I'll feel more free, and then I'll be able to find love.
Oh, yes. I mean, but that's everybody. This is how how the whole system had programmed us to be. We
Exactly.
look for money so that we can feel like, okay, now I can have it, I can be free. Well, it does give you choices, but the equation is in the other way, starts the other way.
Yeah, and we all get to that point in our lifetime where we see that that's not the route to happiness. And sometimes it comes early, and sometimes it comes a lot later.
Mhm.
Um, if we see money as love, that really shifts how we look at life generally. Anyway, however, it was a big lesson that I had to had to learn.
Yeah.
So
So that's incredible. So you actually start with love, you go to trust, finding freedom, and money comes. And I like that because that's why you say in love first, and I think it is absolutely about love first. It's like you start with that, and so today you call yourself a mentor, a coach. Do you still do some of the transactions? Are you still developing your other sectors?
when you say developing, you mean in terms of property?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I haven't gone live on here for quite a while, because this office did not look like it did before this. It was back to brick. So
Really?
we're
Oh,
currently in our 8th property renovation right now. So
congratulations. That's amazing.
thank you.
Wow. And is this something that you want to grow more of, or is something you do in parallel?
Well, we are in a position where we don't necessarily have to do more if we don't want to.
Yeah, which is
However,
beautiful.
I am in the place. I feel like I'm getting to the place where I'd like to settle in my forever home, and I
Mhm.
have a vision about what that looks like. It is a farmhouse, so you more than
That's
welcome to
nice.
come and visit. There will be
Absolutely.
animals.
I love the green areas there and the center. It's just so beautiful. Um,
So
that's lovely.
maybe we'll do a few more before that, but I am getting to the place where I would like to really and put colour to place as well, because every house I do is white and cream.
Nice. And so you want to bring some sparks and some colors. That's amazing.
Definitely.
Well, you're
Definitely.
doing so amazing, and I love your story and your inspiring story, because it's almost saying to every woman, don't feel stuck in an executive role or a position if that's something that doesn't, talk to you anymore or doesn't make you feel fulfilled, because ultimately it's just gonna hurt you inside, and it's not worth it, isn't it? Yeah.
It's not. It's not. I mean, from a health perspective,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Mm.
And sometimes, I mean, it makes me emotional to think about the people that I've had conversations with since
Mm.
I've left
Mm.
the kind of corporate world, and see the same kind of experiences, the same patterns, the same stories, and it's heartbreaking, because there is a better way to be able to feel and be as a person, and I think, well, one of those things that gets me up every day and showing up,
Mm.
is being that light, being that permission slip, being that
Yes, mission
person that
driven.
the
Mm.
showing the different way.
Mm. And I love that. And I love your work. Congratulations for being such a beautiful role model for everyone. And talking without feeling like it's not gonna be understood or anything, and paving the way for others to do the same.
Mm.
Thank you for being with me today, Heather. You are amazing. And I can't wait to see your farmhouse.
You heard it here. This is the first time I've said it live. The Wealth of You Lodge is coming.
Whoa. I love that.
It's like where people, animals, and property get transformed.
Incredible. It is true. Very beautiful. Thank you for coming. Thank you for everyone for joining us. Bye,
Thank you for
everyone.
having me.
Bye.